there, and welcome back to the second part of my roundup of E3. And I thought I'd start off by talking about a couple of games which aren't really attached to any of the conferences. Well, one of them is, but that besides. Anyway, first of all, any kids that grew up in the late 80s and early 90s will have been absolutely wetting themselves over the prospect of Platinum Games' Transformers Devastation. It uses all the old characters from the old TV show. It looks as if it's going to be very combat heavy, but it looks very, very cool. You've got Devastator in the intro, in the trailer, and all things like that. It looks very, very cool. Something I don't know whether it's something I'm necessarily going to buy, because I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be very nostalgic, I think, and that's the real selling point on that. The other thing I wanted really to talk about before I really get into any of the conferences is Shenmue 3, actually. There was a Kickstarter, and in less than 12 hours, it met its $2 million goal, which is incredible. He basically... I forget the name of the guy. Is it Yu Suzuki? I think it is. There were rumours that he was trolling everyone at first, because he posted just before E3 a picture of a forklift and tweeted it. Which, if you know anything about the Shenmue games, was very iconic of it. So that was a real shock. Really did not see that coming at all. Anyway, let's move on to some of the conferences. I think I will start with Sony. Okay, so the first game I have to look at on this list here from Sony's lineup is The Last Guardian. My god, has this been a long time coming, and it looks fantastic. I mean, the way the little boy runs, I mean, the way his arms move out to the side, and the way he kicks his legs as he runs is absolutely fantastic. And there's this whole moment in the trailer where he kind of like runs backwards and forwards and then calls out, and you see the massive monster kind of like stride over, and the way its fur or feathers kind of move is it's really, really something. Expect a lot of puzzles and things like that from this gameplay trailer, because it's all taken from game footage, which is really great. We've seen a lot of trailers at E3 that didn't really show any gameplay, but this is what we wanted to see right here. Expect lots of puzzles. Expect it to be an epic adventure. It's the spiritual successor to Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. Honestly, how can this not be good? Something really to get excited about. Okay, what was next on there? Okay, this was a new IP, actually. I think it was from the creators of Killzone, funnily enough. It's called Horizon Zero Dawn, and it's a real interesting mix of fantasy and sci-fi. You kind of have all the dinosaurs and things like that. It looks very prehistoric at times, very fantasy-ish. But then you realise they're made of, like, electronics and things like that. And there's just... You're basically seeing in the gameplay trailer, you're seeing a hunt basically happen. And you've got some real interesting weapons there. You can tie enemies down to the ground and things like that. Looks really, really cool. The only thing is, I found all the constant self-commentary a little annoying. The character you're playing as has to comment on absolutely everything. You're hearing every single thought that goes through their heads. It just seems really unnecessary and treating the player like basically at a level of stupidity that they really shouldn't. But anyway, you never know. Some people might like it. Personally, I really don't like it at all. However, the game in general looks very, very good. Something quite unique. And yeah, looks really, really neat. The next one. Why I did not see this coming, I do not know. I think I know why, actually, because Squaresoft are tone deaf as hell. So you've probably guessed that I'm talking about Final Fantasy VII, the remake. It's a PlayStation 4, well, it's coming first on PlayStation 4, and then I'm guessing onto PC. I don't know whether Xbox One are going to see this at all. I'm not entirely sure. But, good or bad? I don't know. Because if they don't get this just right, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people. I'd like to see them stick as close to the original as possible, because it was such a good game. It just needs the graphics update, and that's all it needs. However, I can see them messing with the battle system. I really don't see them holding out on keeping it as it was. And basically, if all they're going to do is allow you to control Cloud, and I don't get to run around as Sid Highwind, I am going to be very, very upset. Okay, No Man's Sky. My God, this is putting Elite Dangerous to shame. I swear to God. Mind you, I don't think you can really compare the two. I think that's a little unfair. Whereas Elite Dangerous is very much a trading game, all about things like that. Well, you don't have to play it as a trading game, but that's a large part of it. You do little jobs for people. No Man's Sky just seems like an out-and-out exploration game. The universe is open. It's not just limited to being in space. You can actually go onto the planets. You can land on them. They have points of interest you can visit. You actually land. There's sometimes alien life there. It looks really great. There's destructible terrain as well. It's just one of these games where it looks like you could just lose hours to it. It looks as if you're never going to run out of things to do, really. Whether it becomes boring or not after a while is another issue. It's one of those games where it doesn't necessarily look as if there's really an end goal to it. However, it's not the kind of game that is. Okay, finally, I thought I'd touch on some of the indie developed games, and the creators behind Hotline Miami are making 4 games, apparently, for the PS4. But I'm only going to be showing footage of Mother Russia Bleeds. It's ultra-violent, and it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up. It just looks like insane fun. Not really a lot to it, it's just dumb violence, and that's what I love about it. Okay, really, the only other thing I've got to say about Sony's conference is the Morpheus VR device. It's, as expected, another VR device. Apparently every system has to have one now, just like when the Kinect and the Move came out. There we go. Anyway, that's Sony's conference. Anyway, and now on to Nintendo's video conference, and I was very unhappy to see that there was no Zelda footage at all for the Wii U. It's something I was really expecting to see, and we didn't get it. However, we did get Star Fox Zero, which is playing right now. To be honest, Star Wing, as it was called in the UK, or Star Fox, anywhere else in the world, was the first game I owned on my Super Nintendo, and I absolutely loved it. So I've got a lot of personal investment in this game, and hoping it will be something fantastic. It looks good. I love the way that the spaceship, I think it was called the Star Wing, I think. I love how it sort of transforms and turns into different things depending on the situation. It's just a shooter game, and we don't see too many of those anymore, kind of like the spaceship style shooter games. So it's something we don't see every day, and it's something to look forward to. On to something completely different now, and we have Fatal Frame, Maiden of Black Water. I just found this fairly significant because it's another horror game on the Wii U. Obviously, the Wii U is supposed to be a very family-oriented console, and along with Zombie U, we now have Fatal Frame. It looks like it's going to be a very kind of atmospheric kind of horror game. You use your camera, if you're familiar with the old games, to kind of like stop monsters and things like that, but otherwise you do a lot of running away and things like that. It looks like it's very creepy, very scary, in its Japanese way. And it's one I'm really looking forward to. Right, Xenoblade Chronicles X, or Cross, I never know what it is when Japan do that. It's not the 10th game in the series, it's either the second or third, I forget. I haven't played any of the other ones, but I do like the look of this. I am on the lookout for a decent JRPG to play. I really enjoyed Final Fantasy Type 0 earlier in the year, and I'd like to play another. And Xenoblade Chronicles looks like it's one of those games which I would be very tempted to buy. I like the open world stuff. The fighting system looks pretty cool. And yeah, really, I don't know what else there is to say, because they're very story-driven games. You can just sit back and admire what you see from the gameplay trailer, and that's about it. Which then brings me on to Fire Emblem Fates. I wasn't going to cover handheld games. I wanted to stay away from them really, but there's two I really felt like mentioning, because I did like the last Fire Emblem game that was on the 3DS, and this looks to be much more of the same. Again, if you enjoyed them, this is something to really look forward to again. The other handheld game I wanted to talk about was Zelda Triforce Hero, seeing as I can't talk about Zelda on the Wii U. Okay, it looks as if there's going to be a level of cooperation to this. You have to work together as a team of 3, I think. So you have to have another 2 friends with this. And it just looks like it's more Zelda fun, but working together as a team, and I love the idea of that. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to talk about from Nintendo, except for one more thing, which I shall talk about at the end, but at this moment I'm moving on to Square Enix. So do you like feeling like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone, or have you ever had the urge to feel that way? Well, Just Cause 2 did it, and now we're getting another installment with Just Cause 3. Again, expect the same kind of high-octane explosive action that you had from the second game in large-scale environments again. Looks very, very cool again. It's another game that looks like it's just an open world, just go off and do what you want, although there are underlying missions to this. It looks as if it's filled with chaos, filled with action. The little shooty hook thing that moves you around from the second game, it's back and has a few new tricks to it, as shown in the trailer here. But yeah, it looks like fantastic fun once again. Something to really look forward to again. There's been a lot of that at E3, lots to look forward to, and it's going to hurt my wallet towards the end of the year. This, again, it's one of the games I'm really, really looking forward to. So there we have it. Another one. We haven't got an official title for this one yet, but it's currently being touted as the Nier Next project. Not many people I know really played the first Nier game. I really only know one person that's ever played it, and although the trailer isn't really giving much away, it's a very charming game, the original, and that's the way my other friend describes it as well. It was filled with charm. It was a really nice little story. Graphically, it wasn't necessarily the best, and the controls were a little loose on it, but in general, it was very, very enjoyable, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Let's hope that it gets made fairly soonish, although I think it's still a long way from being made. Okay, Star Ocean, Integrity and Faithlessness. I haven't really played a Star Ocean game since the one on PS2 till the end of time, and this trailer looked very, very weird, moving through and kind of like having a mirror effect kind of thing. It was very weird, and I don't know what it was trying to say by doing that, but eventually when you get through all that, you do get to see some battles, and it looks like your typical Star Ocean system. It's nice to see that this game hasn't really changed very much over the years, and you can just enjoy kind of like a sci-fi fantasy style story with an anime kind of backdrop to it. Not really got a lot else to say. It's just another one of those games I'm looking forward to. Finally, from the Square Enix show, Deus Ex, Mankind Divided. I actually, although I never got around to finish it, I did really enjoy Human Revolution. It's just kind of like if you're into your kind of like stealthy sort of games. It's like a stealth-based RPG almost. And it's something that isn't done very often, and something that I really enjoy. I mean, there's games where you can do stuff like that, like in things like Skyrim, you can make a stealthy character and stuff like that, but this is very much focused on that kind of aspect. Again, it should satiate my cyberpunk hunger until Cyberpunk 2077 comes out, so there we have it. I was a little disappointed actually that I didn't see anything on that at this E3, but with The Witcher 3 just released, I suppose it was a bit too soon. Okay, so that about wraps things up. And while I generate my final thoughts and opinions here, in the background I'm going to be playing Genai Iban Roku, which probably took the award for most batshit insane trailer I saw at E3 that I can't make heads nor tails of. It's a Nintendo game, so there we go. Okay, so what did I think? Well, I think in terms of games and stuff like that, who had the most impressive game lineup, it has to go to Sony and PlayStation. It really does. However, I will also say that Microsoft did some really interesting stuff. I think there's a lot to look forward to if you're a Microsoft fan. Those announcements were actually very exciting. Other than that, Nintendo looked very much more of the same. I think if you're a Nintendo fan, you would have been happy. If you're not, you probably wouldn't have seen anything there. And really, the only thing I have to say is Mass Effect. I cannot wait. So there you have it. Alright, till next time. Bye!